can as fast as we can, just to get you some support. Those of you who have gotten answers know that we're not giving advice, we're not giving opinions, we are supporting you in doing your own work. So we do hope that you follow up with those recommendations that we make, whether it's a book or a principle or something to work with, so that you can do your work. Because that's what this is all about. This is not about getting advice. This is not about me having a magic bullet. This is not about me knowing something that you don't know. It's about not knowing and learning how to do your work. So that's why we're even here on the Google Hangouts. So I want to talk about this whole notion for a moment of the black sheep in the family, that one that cast off, that everybody seems to be at odds with, or everybody talks about, or everybody has some issue with, or that person that has had some experience in their life that makes everybody upset with them, turns people against them. So very often, let's say someone has trouble with the legal system and maybe they do a little time, they could become the black sheep of the family. Or that person who has an addiction, a substance abuse problem, they could become the black sheep of the family. Or that person that has a different spiritual identity or a different sexual identity, they could become the black sheep of the family. The thing is, it seems that there's one person that everybody has an issue with. And we want to explore, is it really an issue? Or is it just that people need somebody to point at, focus on? Or perhaps it's just that when people become uncomfortable with who we are, with how we are expressing, when we go against the family grain, when we're different. I know I was always the different one in my family. I can remember very clearly when I was about 27, 28 years old, single mom with 3 kids, and I decided I was going to college. Everybody in my family told me that I was crazy. They wanted to know, what do you want to do that for? I was the first person in my family to get a high school diploma. And so people were just, it wasn't in their consciousness that a mom with 3 kids could go to college. So I became the black sheep of my family. Or when I decided I was going to be a classical ballerina at the age of 12 and studied classical ballet, and people were like, you can't make any money doing that. So there's a reason that our families seem to turn against us. There's a reason that we seem to grow up differently. Here's what I want you to know, that if everybody at the dance, let's say the family reunion, if everybody at the reunion has on pink shoes and your shoes are yellow, it doesn't mean that you have the wrong shoes on. It may just mean that you have a different purpose, that your purpose is different. Maybe you don't fit the mold because it's not your purpose to be in the mold. It doesn't mean that everybody else is wrong. It simply means that that is not the group that you're going to be moving with at this time, and your shoes are just going to be different. Maybe you just need to be comfortable with the comments people are making about your yellow shoes. You don't have to change them. You don't have to get pink shoes. You don't have to get red shoes. Maybe it's about learning how to be present in the discomfort of people being upset with you. So we want to talk about that tonight. Now, when you share your story or when you ask your question, it's best if we try to stay on topic. What are your experiences as the black sheep of the family? Has anybody ever called you that? Or have you made that up in your mind? Simply because people in your family are doing it different and you're doing it a whole nother way. So let's go to the board. We've got a number of questions. I'm in my hotel room. The light is bad, so I do have my visual assistants. I've been the black sheep in my family since I decided not to become a Jehovah's Witness. Spiritual differences. This is from Sugar Ray. Hi, Sugar Ray. Born into a deeply religious family and deciding to take a new and different path kept me at odds with them. And years later, I'm 35 and we're still trying to find peace. This is a great question. Even though you didn't ask a question, I'm going to say Your question may be, what happens if you became the black sheep because you took a different spiritual path? And I'm going to say this. When it comes to religion, spirituality, every individual has a right to do their own independent investigation of God, of source, of divine mind, whatever you call it. Every individual has a right to know the God of their understanding. And again, if you come into the dance in yellow shoes, it doesn't mean that everybody in the pink shoes is right. It may just mean that your purpose is different. And you have the right to take the path and the calling that's on your heart. So I would say, if you really want to find peace with them, and certain spiritual and religious traditions are a lot less open and accepting than everyone else. Know that they're not really angry with you. They're probably more afraid for you and afraid of you. Afraid for you because of their own spiritual beliefs and traditions. They may think, of course, what is the one fear most religions have? You are going straight to hell in a handbasket. And probably afraid of you because you're thinking in a way that can't be controlled. Here is the thing. This is a family breakdown surfaced around, surrounded by God. Take it to God and follow your heart. Good luck, Sugar Ray. And know that it's okay to have on yellow shoes when everybody else has on pink shoes. Let's see if we've got another question. Visual assistance. Because I do not wear glasses, I have visual assistance. I wonder what you're wearing on your face. All right. Hi, Miss Iyanla. My name is Michael. Hi, Michael. My question is, I'm actually gay. Okay. I'm actually gay and disabled, a disabled man. I recently moved back with my family, but I'm still afraid. Keywords. I'm still afraid that they don't accept me because of my sexuality. Any advice on how to talk to them without being judged? This is from Michael Tomaszewski. Well, Michael, I don't give advice. What I can tell you is what I know. And what I know is your family may not agree with who you are, and nor do you need them to agree. But you've got to love them enough to tell them the truth and believe that they can handle it. Love them enough to tell them the truth and believe that they can handle it. I want you to be real clear about what you wrote. I still afraid. And what you fear, you will attract to you. So maybe this really isn't about you being a black sheep or your family not rejecting you based on what you have here. Maybe it's your fear that's going to draw the energy, the criticism, the judgments from them. There's nothing that you can do. People judge you all day long. The only thing you can do is forgive them. Forgive them. But based on the way you've crafted this communication, as you release the fear, as you get comfortable, as you really learn to stand in your true identity as a gay man, as a disabled man, as a man, period. Let's put that first. I am a man who is gay and disabled. But you seem to qualify your manhood with all of these other adverbs. I am adjectives. I am a man who is gay and disabled. Afraid that my family will judge me. Love them enough to tell them the truth, and respect them enough to know that they can handle your truth. Work with that. See how that works for you. Let's do another question before we go to our guest this evening. Let me see. Let me see where. Do I have a question here? What happens when this becomes a tradition, theme throughout the family? One person each generation chosen to be the black sheep for no apparent reason other than to carry on what the family knows. I called my mother and told her I give back the unwanted. That's from Avalon Stirk. You know, it's funny, but Most families do have a black sheep. They have the weird one, the strange one, the different one, the one that everyone has a problem with. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. And it doesn't mean that they're necessarily wrong in how they're viewing you. The question is do they reject you? Do they abandon you? Do they bully or interrogate with the intention to change? All you can do is be who you are. And like you said, you gave it back. Give it back. And let people know this is who I am. And love me. I'm asking you to love me just as I am. But never, ever, ever be tempted to give up your truth or deny your truth to keep other people comfortable. That is a disservice that you do to yourself. And when you show up differently than the truth of who you are, people fall in love with who you're not. I say that all the time. People fall in love with who you're not. So let people love you for who they are, and if they can't handle it, oh well. Next question. We did that one. What happens when it becomes a theme? Alrighty. We also have a guest tonight, so we're going to answer one more question, and then we're going to go to our guest. How about that? Do you know any black sheeps out there? And black is not referring to the color. It's referring to the darkness or the heaviness that the person has on. You actually know my story already. You were present with my story Monday about my family and my eating disorder. It has been the evil topic of the family, and everyone pretty much makes that clear. Emily Eschard. Well, what's the question, Emily? I don't see the question. Are you asking me you're the black sheep because there's a perceived eating disorder? I don't know what to answer there. I will just say, forgive, 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 pray, pray, pray. Forgive, forgive, forgive. You know, there was a book, Eat, Pray, Love. I say, forgive, pray, love. Forgive, pray, love. What do I do when my mother takes sides and she always finds fault with my actions and never her sons? This sounds like my mother loves them better. All I do is help, and I feel like when an issue arises in our family, no matter right or wrong, judgments, she will choose their side. My whole family has moved to Texas. Okay, beloveds, if you're asking me a question, it's got to be clear. What do I do when my mother takes sides and she always finds fault with my actions and never with her sons? What do you do? Forgive, pray, love. That's going to be my new answer. Forgive, pray, love. I don't know. It's your perspective that she's finding fault with you. It seems that you have declared yourself to be the black sheep. What if your mother's assessment is accurate? You think you're right. You feel that she's taken sides. But what if from her perspective, not from the entire perspective of the universe, but what if from her perspective, she's right? She can find fault with what you do from her perspective. From her perspective. What do? Forgive, pray, love. All right, we're going to go to our guest. I don't want our guests to be hanging on, and we'd like to get our guests in. And our guest today is she up? Hello, guest. Are you coming up? Wave so I know you see me. I don't think she can hear me. Hi. We're going to pull you up. How about that? Hello there. Can you see me?
Yes.
Good. Audie, is that your name?
Audra. It's Audra.
Audra, can you adjust your height on your camera? Because all I see is your eyes and your nose.
Wow.
The other way. There you go. Come on up a little more. Come on up a little higher, Audra. Yes. Come on up a little higher. The other way. The other way. The other way. Bring it. There you go. Thank you. How are you, Miss
Okay.
Audra? Okay, I lost you again. And
Okay.
all I have is eyes and
I'm good. I'm
nose.
good.
You were doing well. Move your
Why? What's going on? I
screen
see
back
you very
again.
clearly. Hold on.
Okay, but I can't see you. I only see your eyes and your nose. There you go. There
Do you
you
see me
go.
now?
Much better. Now you have on a blue and white dress. Now I hear you well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do
So
you hear
how
me?
can I support you today,
Okay,
Audra?
good.
How are you? Yes, I can. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, well,
Can
I
you hear
have
me?
always, I mean, I grew up in a you hear me? I grew up in a very dysfunctional home,
Yes.
and it was I had a bunch of siblings, and I was the oldest girl. The three brothers were older than I, and they actually started to move out. At the time, I always took care of my sisters. I was like the living babysitter, basically. So I never really got any type of emotional or anything. I just didn't learn that. I was ready, just babysitting. By the time I got 19, I had my first child, moved out, and bam, reality hits. And I'm trying to get things right, living my life, and then my sisters come along. And when I get older, there was always a problem. I always felt insecure in my household because I felt like I left the house, and when I would come around to see that my sisters I felt like they always was treated better than I was. And it bothered me, and I just left it alone. And they would get things more than I have, and and I was the one taking care of them. But as I got older, they got big, and I helped them out. So now we're all grown, we're all women, and I got myself into some very deep trouble legally, and they had to actually venture out for me, my sisters and everybody. So now with all that, and I always had arguments with them back and forth as it's growing up. So now with these legal issues, it's a big strain. I'm here by myself. We all live in the same state, but I have no support. It's like I don't have any family, and we're all grown, and it's five girls, three boys. No one calls me. We don't talk. I'm going through this. It's very difficult, and it's just hard for me. It's like, what did I do wrong? I took care of these little girls. I always was very supportive of them. And because of this one mistake that I've done, which, I lost a lot and lost everything, it caused confusion because now my daughter see that, it's a lack of respect. Now my daughter, she's of age of 21, and we're having the same problem. It's still dysfunctional. It's like I took that from being home to my house. Now it's only me and my daughter. So, but it's still dysfunctional. She doesn't have her aunts around, and it's just me and her, and we're struggling. It's hard. I really don't know what to do. There's days I sit in and just cry, and and when I do reach out to them, they're so nasty. They're rude. They're so judgmental. It's like you don't even want to hear it, so you just cut yourself off. So
Who's
that's
you?
just
You
where I'm
cut
at.
yourself off? Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want
Did
to
I
hear
hear
it.
you?
It's too.
Did
Hmm.
I hear you say that when you had the legal trouble that they came and bailed you out?
Yes, they did. They did. They did. They were there. But it seems like because they gave me, they helped me out, they're very upset of it. Like they just tell you about it, and it's a constant thing. And it's like I'm trying to get myself back together.
And how do you
And
respond? How do you respond when they speak to you about what has happened? How do you respond?
I respond. I believe I respond correctly. I don't outburst. With all my troubles that I'm going through, I redirected myself spiritually. I learned a lot. I mean, my mother's not fond of me not going to church. I don't go to church. I don't have a church. My sisters and them go to church, and my brother. But I'm not. Since I've been reading, and I find my own direction. I don't. I have not committed to just a church. I don't
But
want to tie
how do
myself
you
to.
respond when they judge you, criticize you, I'm not clear what it is about the fact that you have this legal issue. How do you
I
respond?
I listen. I listen. I learn to listen. I don't respond to them. I let them say what they say, and I'll let them know. I said, okay, you know what? I know how you feel. So I'll just let you go and have a good day. And they'll just hang the phone up like bye, and they won't call. They won't reach out or anything. So it's like, okay, what is this?
Have you
Like it just
asked
hurts. It hurts because I'm. Hmm?
have you asked the question what it is that they want you to do with the information that they're giving you? Have you asked them that?
I don't. I think they believe magic happens out of the blue. Like I'm supposed to just jump on my feet and everything appears. I could give them back their money. I believe the money is the issue that they're mad
Have you asked them,
because
is the money the issue or the fact that I made a mistake? What is the issue? Have you asked them
they
that?
said because I've made a stupid mistake, and they said I'm always making bad decisions. And for me to be the older sister, and they're young, and they see the mistakes I've made, that it just pisses them off. So with my mistake, they had to give money that they didn't have.
Well, that's not true that they didn't have it because if they didn't have it, they wouldn't have given it. They gave it, so they had it. So I'm not clear. What is your question?
My question is, how do you deal with that? Because I'm still dealing with, the legal issue. It's still
Forgive
around.
yourself.
I feel like I'm alone, and I have a big family, but no one wants to hear it. No one. It's like I have a disease, basically. It's like everyone wants to stay clear. That's how I feel. Like I have a disease that they can get, and they just stay clear, and I'm here by myself trying to figure out how to make my next move. And I
Forgive
have to
yourself.
run outside to get some clarification and speak to someone going through this, because I don't have my family. They're all like hating me right now, and I'm like, why? Like I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Let's get past it. But it just gets worse every time I speak to
Well,
them. It's nastiness.
But here's what I know, that if they're upset with you, it has nothing to do with the mistake you made. It has its roots somewhere else. It has
That's what
its
I
roots
figured.
somewhere
I
else.
figured that too.
And in terms of clearing the energy about your legal issue, you got to forgive yourself. Because people, I don't care who they are, people in the world only mirror back to you what you're thinking and feeling about yourself. They really do. I mean, we want to make it about them. We want to say it's them. But people really will mirror back to you what you're thinking and what you're speaking to yourself. So it sounds to me like you really need to do some self forgiveness. Have you forgiven yourself for this mistake that you've made?
Um, I don't know. I do. I tell myself I forgive myself, but then
It's still
I don't know
coming
how
back
that
at you.
feels. Like it's a
Yeah.
weird feeling. Like how do you know when you forgive yourself, even if you say it, but then
It
you
won't
live
it
with this
won't come
every
up in your
day.
heart. You know that you've
So then
forgiven
I
yourself.
no, it's not past.
Yeah. Well, if it's still coming up in your heart, if you still have judgments about it, if you're still holding on to fear and hurt and anguish and anger, they're going to mouth that back to you. They really are. Now, you're the oldest sister, so I want you to consider this. You say you took care of your younger sisters. You say you were there for them. You were the hero. And people, when their hero falls, it's very hard for people to deal with. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's like Superman is supposed to go over every building, and Batman is supposed to be able to do everything. When you're somebody's hero, when they're looking up to you, and you don't live up to their expectations, it is very disappointing and disheartening for people, and they will be very mad at you. You got to understand that. You got to
Yeah.
understand that. So part of it is just about you owning that for yourself. I know I'm the oldest. I know you probably looked up to me, and I have disappointed you. Please forgive me. You got
Yeah.
to forgive me.
Yeah.
You got to go there. Because you
Yeah.
are and They may be afraid. I think fear makes people act uglier than anger does. When people are afraid of what will happen to you, when they're afraid of, oh my God, if she could do that, what about me? And if people are afraid that you're not going to be who they want you to be, or people are afraid that there's something about you they can't control, they get afraid. And when people are afraid, they will attack. Fear makes people act uglier than anger does. So I want to say to you, forgive yourself and ask them for forgiveness constantly. And don't look for them to do it anytime soon. And since I'm alone, I have family, I would communicate that to them. I just need some support right now. Not monetary support. And when you ask them for support, what happens?
They get nasty. I would reach out to my sisters and say, look, like just yesterday I said, I'm feeling a little down. Could you come over? Oh, I ain't got time. I don't want to sit over there and just listen to. I can't do it. I'm like, wow.
And were they like that before you had this difficulty?
No.
Really?
No. And my thing is, I couldn't see how you can do that to someone. I could see a friend doing that, but your siblings, like,
oh, they're just people.
It's crazy, and I mean, it just hurts. It hurts, and I know we grew up dysfunctional where we don't know how to show that love or care. We grew up militant, rough, like. So I know it tends to go deeper than just what it is. They don't know. They cover up as well, because I grew up with that as well too. But as I got older, I read a lot, and I knew, that there was a problem going from deep within from my mother and father, because they was dysfunctional, and now we're all separated and we all are dysfunctional. There's not one day we can get together and we are not arguing. I mean, it's so embarrassing. We can go to a restaurant and it's like the whole restaurant turn around looking at us like, oh my God, you have to like just walk away. It's just crazy. So
then it really doesn't have everything to do with you. But I heard you say
right. No.
I heard you say something earlier. You said they got more than me. Remember you said that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I feel like they got more than me. They got more, I guess, material things as well as emotional things. I want to know how much of that you're holding about them is giving you now a reason to dislike them.
I don't dislike my sisters. I feel like my mother and father didn't pay me any attention, because it seemed like I was born to take care of their kids.
Well,
so it was like,
and you're having that.
The other kids came, and Mm-hmm.
And you're having that same experience right now. You're not taking care of them. You're asking them to take care of you, and that's not the role you were given in the family. We all have roles in the family. We have the martyr, we have the victim, we have the black sheep, we have the hero. We all have roles in the family. And unless everybody in the family is willing to look at, examine, and clear that role, then you're going to play the role that they put you in, unless you get out of it. You get out of it. So here's a question for you. If you know they're nasty to you, if they know they won't support you, if you know you're in dysfunction, if you know they're angry with you, probably afraid for you, disappointed in you, why do you keep going to them, asking them for support?
Because I don't have no one else.
That's not true. That's not true. Because if you've created your life in such a way that you don't have one single person to support you, then that's not about them, that's about you.
Yeah.
You don't have a girlfriend. You don't have a pastor. You don't have a co-worker. You've created your life. So why have you created your life in such a way that you don't have support?
I think it's because I'm embarrassed. I don't want to tell people what's really going on with me.
So is it true that you don't have anybody you can talk to? Is that true?
Yeah, I really don't. I don't.
Because you're
I was a
embarrassed?
very timid girl. Very timid. I stay to myself. I'm not yeah.
So you don't have a best
So
friend?
I'm embarrassed of that. I don't, it seems like because I do, she knows about it, but she can't support me. She lives in another state.
Well,
I
what does
speak to her
support
once in a
look
while,
like?
and she's like a newlywed, so I don't want to burden her with my problems. Hmm?
But that's your best friend. Do you just need somebody? Maybe I don't know what kind of support you
I
need.
just
Maybe I don't know. What would support look like for you?
just I feel like it's difficult for me to get back on my feet with jobs. I always had a decent job, but now that this record is on my thing, it's hard. So like I'm losing everything. I lost my car. I'm about to lose my place. It's just hard. It's hard. I've never experienced this stuff, and it's like, I don't know how to go about it. I'm not married. I always took care of stuff myself, and I can't. I don't have. I always worked, so I don't know what else to do. I'm like stuck. So they feel like I should be more of a start thinking about my own business. How do you think get your own business if you don't have no money? This is the type of support I would get. Go get your own business. Go do that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I can't even do this. How am I gonna move to that next level? But I know all things are possible. But I've been, it's just a lot. It's a lot for me. It's a lot
Audra,
emotionally.
let me recommend that you send an email to iyanlafixins.com and that you get a coach, because the
Okay.
coach can help you win at your game.
Okay.
Um, I hear what you're saying, but I also hear how you're saying it. There are plenty of people with criminal records, with legal issues that get jobs. And I want to encourage you not to take on the dysfunction, the burden, the shame, the guilt of a mistake. But how can you recreate in your mind what this is, what you've learned, what the lesson is, what the blessing is, so that you can move forward? So send an email to iyanlafixins@iyanla.com and just
Okay.
put in your subject line, would like to talk to a coach. And
Okay.
let somebody help you get this kind of sorted out, because you've condemned yourself, you've convicted yourself, imprisoned yourself, and you're trying to get other people to do for you what you can't seem to do for yourself. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
It does.
So that's what I'm going to recommend for you.
Okay, I'll send that email.
All right,
Thank
darling.
you.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Yeah. So I
Thank
think so.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, my love. I think so
Okay.
very often we do that. We convict ourselves within ourselves, and then we're looking for freedom and support from outside of ourselves. But you can only receive what you can give, and nobody can give it to you if you're not giving it to yourself. So the support that you may need as the black sheep, or the outcast, or whatever you are, you've got to learn how to support yourself so that you don't become distracted and waste time trying to get it from other people. Let's go back to our questions. We got time for lots of questions tonight because we've only had one guest. If you've got a question, you can send it to Iyanla Fixins at Iyanla Fixins at Iyanla.com. Iyanla with no S, Fixins at Iyanla.com. Now let me say this to you, all of you who are watching, and we'll post it up next week. Next week, I do my annual retreat at Omega Institute for the incoming students into my coaching program. They come in every July and we do a class, a week-long class. And there is no Wi-Fi at Omega Institute. And a Wi-Fi that is there, I would not trust it to get me online with you. So please mark your calendar. There will be no Google Hangout next week because Iyanla is at Omega. I'm gonna put a big sign up on the site so that you on my YouTube channel so that you can see Iyanla's at Omega. There will be no Google Hangout. Let's take a question. Visual assistance. Yes, Miss Iyanla. Thank you. I am a mother of 3. I was pregnant the first time at 15 and just this past year went to rehab twice. At 16, I was on my own spiritual journey. I connected with your books and God. How do I get my fiance to trust my process and no longer be a black sheep? Wow, that's a lot. Ryan Wedge. Why does your fiance have to trust your process? It's your process. He doesn't have to trust it. He doesn't have to believe in it. He doesn't have to support it. But then you have to ask, why would I want a partner who doesn't trust me enough to determine my own spiritual process and my own spiritual path? Why do I want that person as a partner? And why is it important for me that my partner understand, recognize, trust, engage in my spiritual process? Because it's for you. It is for you. Now, in terms of no longer being the black sheep, sometimes you just have to do the work that's required to clean up your reputation. Because once you disappoint people, once you don't live up to people's expectations, once you don't live up to your own expectations, you got to repair your reputation. So that may be what is required now. And be clear about the support, the encouragement, whatever it is you're looking for from your family. Be clear about it within yourself. Don't require them to change, but ask for what you need and want. Ask for what you need and want. So I mean, in terms of your path and your process, that's on you. In terms of no longer being the black sheep, maybe it's an issue of reputation and what you need to do to reconvince people that they can trust you again. Sometimes they're not ready, but don't let that stop you. Rebuild your reputation. I remember when I did the Iyanla Fix My Life with Terrell Owens, one of the questions I said to him, I offered him was, what have you done to destroy your good name and reputation? What have you done? And how do you begin to repair it? Because sometimes we do destroy our own good name and reputation, and we have to do the work to repair it. First within ourselves, and then out in the world. Because the world can't recognize what you don't have within you. Do your work to repair your own good name and reputation. First within yourself, with your forgiveness work, understanding what your lessons are, what were you going for, what did you get, blah, 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 and then out in the world. First within, then without. Alrighty, let me go back to another question over here and see what folks are wanting to know. I have 23 messages. Let me get my visual assistants. Hi, Ia. Hi. No one has ever called me the black sheep, but oftentimes my family members say, I think I am too much. It makes me feel guilty for desiring more and wanting to be greater. How can I release the guilt? You say to them, you're absolutely right. I do want more. I want all of the good and the greatness and the abundance that I can get my hands on. And when I get it, I may share some of it with you. One of the things that we have to do is stop being so shocked and horrified when people say certain things about you. Here was the question people used to say to me and my family all the time, just who do you think you are? Who do you think you are that you're going to be able to do that? And for a long time, I was horrified. I would be like, nobody, I'm not anybody. But then I woke up. Who do I think I am? Me. And why do I think I should do that? Because I want to. And I don't need your agreement. I would love to have your support, but I'm not going to die without it. But I certainly do not need your agreement. Okay? So there's no reason for you to feel guilty. Guilt says that there's something wrong with what I've done. That's what guilt says. Shame says there's something wrong with who I am. Guilt says there's something wrong with what I've done or something I'm doing. So if all you're doing is wanting more for yourself, growing more, breaking family patterns, it's really okay. Nothing for you to feel guilty about, or make amends if you can make amends. And I don't see how you make amends for wanting to have more and desiring more for yourself. Here's another thing I want people to consider. Every family has a pattern. Someone spoke to that earlier. I come from a family pattern of poverty. That's where I come from. So I want you to know the guilt, the fear that I had when I started earning money. First as an attorney, then as a radio talk show host, and then as an author. I mean, it was like guilty because I outlived my family pattern. So be sure when you're calling yourself or have been called a black sheep, that it's not just because you are living beyond the family pattern. When you break the family pattern, the family will turn on you. They will turn on you. And they will say things like, who do you think you are? Or you are just too much. Or you think you're better than everybody else. Now, you don't say that out loud to your mama, but in your mind, you just say, yep. Got that right. Mm-hmm. Not from an ego-driven way, but from the way of you have a right to see yourself higher and call yourself higher and take yourself higher. You'd love to have their support, but you don't need their agreement. Next question. I'm looking for the next question. Yes. Hi there. I don't know who that is. Bessie Burke. Hi there. Being a black sheep, I have a lot of anger. As anger is a secondary emotion stemming from either hurt, fear, etc. How does one get over that? How do I stop being angry? It must serve some purpose, but I find it to be destructive. It is destructive. It destroys your kidneys. It destroys your uterus. It destroys the mammary glands in your breast. It destroys your insulin supply in your body. Anger is very, very, very destructive. And the way that you can get out of the anger is to give yourself permission to feel the hurt. Sit in the hurt. Drop your hands to your side and invite the hurt forward. And just let your heart break. And when your heart breaks, what will happen is you'll fall into the love. And you'll be comforted by the love. First, the love that you have for yourself. Then the love that's available to you in the universe. And then people will be able to love you again. What keeps us stuck in anger is our refusal or our fear of sitting in the hurt. Of just letting your heart break. Of just feeling how devastating it is to be in whatever situation you're in. Because you're right, we come from love. When we don't get the love we need or want, we fall into anger. When we can't stand in the anger anymore, we drop into the hurt. And once we clear the hurt, right beneath it is love again. So love, anger, hurt, love. Let your heart break. Deal with the hurt, and the anger will dissipate. Okay? Thanks, Becky. Let's go to the next question here. And that would be, I'm the black sheep in my family because I found the courage to demand boundaries for my family. I took a stand and told my aunt to mind her own business and stop commenting on the choices my husband and I make for our family. Well, yeah, when you start creating boundaries, it does kind of scare people off and piss them off a little bit. And you've created a boundary. Now, I'm sure you might have been able to find a more loving way to say, mind your own business. But my question is, how'd she get in your business? Did you invite her to make comments, or was she just offering them uh, voluntarily? Because sometimes when you don't have clear boundaries and people offer you volunteer information, there's a very simple way to stop that. Thank you for sharing. That's it. Thank you for sharing. You don't have to get mad. You don't have to get upset. You don't have to get angry. You simply say, thank you for sharing. Or stop inviting them into your conversation and your communication. But yes, you did a good thing. You created a boundary. Make sure you keep it in place. Hello. Next question. I've got some +2s here. Let me see if I can find a good one. Iyanla. Women in my family don't get along. My sisters spent years not talking. My father has dementia, and they cannot agree on a POA. What's a POA? Plan of action. I knew that. They're going to court and stop talking to me. I wouldn't support either of their POA in that forum. I wanted to meet together. Ananda Gati. I don't see a question here. There's no question, so I don't know what to answer. So I won't. Next question. That is a big issue, though, where the sisters don't get along. But I don't see a question, so I'm not going to stick my nose in somebody's business when they haven't asked me to do that, because they could tell me, mind your own business. Hey, Miss Vanzant. Hi. That's a person that didn't know how to spell my name. I love when people can't spell my name or say my name, then I become Miss Vanzant. This is Catherine Vollmer. I have always been the black sheep. Okay. Maybe that's your role, but that's okay. How can I forgive my family? They have made me so mad and given me so much pain. No, they have been who they are, and you've taken it on and caused yourself pain. Cause yourself pain. Just because they made you that way doesn't mean you have to stay that way. Oh no, look people, the visual assistants have broken. What's a girl to do? What is a girl to do? Is that tacky? Oh, y'all can't see. I'll turn this way so it looks like they're working. But I'm telling you, the arm fell off. Oh, wait, I can't do that anymore. I have parents who love me and parents who I hate. How do I reconcile that? How do I forgive them? How do I forgive me? Start with you. Start with forgiving you. Listen, I'm a parent. I don't know if you're a parent, Catherine, but I'm a parent. And when I recognize the contradictions in my being and my parenting, I just want to slash my wrists. It's a wonder my children are totally medicated for the rest of their life, because parents are crazy. We're crazy, all right? And the more unmet needs that we have as parents, the more difficult it is for us to parent our children. I had many, many, many unhealed needs, unmet needs and unhealed wounds. And I did the best I could, but that doesn't mean that I didn't hurt my children, that I didn't disappoint them, that I wasn't hypocritical, that I didn't teach them all kind of confusing and conflicting things. I had unmet needs and unhealed wounds, and I still did the best I could. So as a parent, I would offer to you, Catherine, forgive yourself first. Forgive yourself for believing you had the wrong parents. Forgive yourself for judging your parents if you didn't know their unmet needs and their unhealed wounds. Forgive yourself for believing that things should have been any different. Forgive yourself, and that'll open your heart so that you can forgive your parents. I know, as crazy as it sounds, as a mom, as a grandmom, I'm telling you, they did the best they could. That doesn't excuse them. That doesn't say you have to like their bad behavior. That doesn't say that your anger or your disappointment isn't fully justified. But you have to ask yourself this: who would you be without this story? Who would you be without the I hate them, they hate me, I'm the black sheep? Who would you be without your story? Make a commitment to be that person. Use forgiveness to lay the story down so that you can create a new one. Hope that helps. The glasses here. Oh, let me turn around because I'm a television host and I can't be in the world with one arm on my glasses. Okay, my aunt is, I guess you would say, the black sheep. Her and I were once close, and it is so hard to get back to where we were. Recently, her son was in the hospital, and I never went because I had stuff going on. Now she is mad. What do I do? Ask her for forgiveness. Ask her for forgiveness. You know, don't try to get to where you were before. Try to recreate a relationship with her. Create a new relationship with her. And just ask her for forgiveness. She had stuff going on. But I go back to my guest tonight, Audra, where she might have felt, as the black sheep in the family, that nobody was there to support her. And if you and her had a decent relationship, she might have just been looking for you to support her. And you had stuff going on. The question is, did you communicate to her? Because stuff going on maybe kept you from getting there. But did you let her know that you were there to support her? You know, maybe that's what she's upset about. I don't think she's mad at you. I think she's hurt because nobody was there for her. And I don't know that to be true. I'm just making that up. All righty. Here we go. Hello, Miss Iyanla. Hello. This is from Ashley McDonald. I got married in 2012. And my father and I... Oh, I'm sorry. What am I doing? Okay. My glasses are crooked. I'll just hold this here. So it'll look like the arm is there. I'll just hold it. Hello, Miss Iyanla. I got married in 2012, and my father and I both ended up in an argument with my aunt and cousin over a necklace of all things. I have tried so many times to heal the anger and wounds, but they won't communicate with me. Any he? Oh, what's the question? I don't see a question. But they won't communicate with me. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they're not ready. This is what I do when I have people who don't seem to be ready to heal. This is what I communicate to them. Relationship is important to me. And I want to know what it is that I need to do to heal this breakdown between us. Because this is an important relationship to me. Is our relationship important to you? And would you be willing to heal this breakdown? And if they say no, well, then you just stick your tail between your legs and go on about your business. But if they say it's an important relationship, maybe they're just not ready. But let them know that the relationship is important to you and that you're willing to do what's required to heal the breakdown. Okay? Next question. See, we got lots of questions because we didn't have a lot of guests. I do love my guests, though. All righty. Here we go. Do you have any advice for me? Everyone say this with me. Take a deep breath. Iyanla doesn't give advice. Say that. Come on, say it with me. Iyanla doesn't give advice. I don't give advice. Why would you be writing me for advice? I'm applying principles to difficult situations. Principles: forgiveness, honesty, truth, compassion, respect, honor, dignity. That's what I'm doing. Okay? Do you have, I don't know what that word is. Iyanla, help me regarding how to talk to my tween about mommy being the black sheep, since the family has started with my daughter, Avalon, as well. Thanks, Barbara Sturck. Okay, mommy being the black sheep, since my family has started with my daughter as well. So if I'm to hear this, Barbara Sturck is the black sheep, but now they're calling Avalon the black sheep? Okay, I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm not understanding your question, my beloved. Send me an email. Maybe we can figure it out from there. Okay? Next question. We've got time for probably one more. I'm 62. I'm not going to say me too. My daughter is 45 and will not let me see my two grandchildren. Yikes. She will not tell me why, nor communicate with me. She has a history of not speaking to me. 6.5 years the first time, now 2 years. I don't know how to deal with the situation. Kathy Mack. Kathy, as a mom and a grandmom, it is imperative upon you to determine why your daughter isn't speaking to you. Now, see, I'm only getting one side of the story here, but it's been 2 years and she hasn't spoken to you. Let's go back to, does she know that your relationship with her is important to both of you? Does she know that your relationship with your grandchildren is important to both of you? Does she know that your relationship as a woman, as an elder woman, is important to you with her as a junior woman? There's some information here I'm not getting. Communicate to her that her relationship with you is important and that you really want to work things out. Ask her if she's willing. And if she isn't, well, Grandma, pray. That's all I can tell you. Forgive, pray, eat. Was it eat, pray, love? Forgive, pray, love. Forgive, pray, love. Forgive, pray, love. But children don't turn on their mothers without reason. Maybe it's something you forgot. All right? Work with that. I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. It's always such a pleasure. Please do not put on Instagram that my glasses are broken. Don't tell anybody. I will get them fixed tomorrow. But lovely glasses they are.